The next snippet is called Nastiness. It's about a man who is nasty, and it is so much part of his innate nature, but eventually, with unconditional love, he manages to get rid of it. Nastiness. The little ant found itself in the man's heart. It tickled him, making him jump, as it ran through the lower chamber, hoping to escape. It needed to get out before it was too late. Wriggling its tiny bottom, it floated on the viscous red water, which carried it along like a tiny sailboat floating on the crimson Red Sea. Meanness rode on its back, and the ant knew that if it drowned, the burden it carried would be dislodged in the man. The angry river of blood did not enjoy the invasion, and mercilessly it caught the ant, forcing it to tailspin in the stream. The ant gasped for breath, breaking water before being pulled by the wrathful tide towards the atria capillary sands, which seemed miles away. With kindness in its heart, the ant strove to save the man from the dreadful load on its back. It had to get away, and willfully, with all its might, it swam towards the opening. But the man needed meanness as ammunition to deal with his insecurities. He knew what the ant carried, and he wanted the parcel to be absorbed in his blood. He started to run, and his heart began to pump furiously. The tiny insect fought off the dizzying effects of the crimson tsunami as it hurtled through the water like a ragged doll swirling in a whirlpool of blood. And gradually its tiny legs collapsed, unable to withstand its adversary. It embraced a blissful death, unloading a container of meanness into the water. Nastiness laughed. It was now free. It had rid itself of its tiny companion, and the water grew quiet in ominous wonder. It embraced the man, and linking arms, they plotted vengeance against the world. Incompetence was what the man had been feeling, and nastiness with parasitic hunger devoured his helplessness. Holding its hand, the man found he could be true to his nature. His anger erupted as he raged against the world, irate with his luck and infuriated with his fortune. Lashing out, he blamed everyone who crossed his path. His family recoiled. His friends grew bewildered and confused, and his colleagues and employees shuddered in his presence. For the abuse of his emotions had more power to damage and hurt than the pain of physical violence. People dropped out of his life. Feeling humiliated, they distanced themselves from his cruelty. His near and dear ones loved him despite the rage and nurtured him, hoping their kindness would kill his pain. The man grew secure, for love has a way of spreading her thoughtfulness to the strongest of hearts. He began to value himself and revel in unconditional love. He allowed another ant to trespass into his heart, and it was the ant of love. The ant was determined not to die. It swam on the bloody shores of the man's heart with powerful strokes. It looked at nastiness in the eye, spreading its kindness far and wide, and knowing it had been conquered, nastiness slunk off, defeated.